And welcome to RWENZORI Focus here on LC Africa, the Content Factory, the program that examines the issues, history, culture, and development of RWENZORI region. I am HASON, your host of today's edition. This morning, we are going to discuss an important and fascinating topic, the origin of OBUSINGA RWENZURURU. And we are joined by Honorable Christopher Chibanzanga Tabani Mbalula, who is the MP for Wendera County, and also who doubles as the Chief Prince. Nobody can take away that title from you.
You are mistaken.
I'm mistaken?
Yeah.
Well, the OBUSINGA RWENZURURU is a cultural institution that represents the aspirations, identity, and the heritage of the people of RWENZORI region, particularly the Bakonzo. In its journey, it has been marked by struggles of recognition, cultural preservation, and the promotion of unity and development. To help us understand this history, we are joined by Honorable Christopher Tabani Mbalula. Can you first say hello to our viewers?
Oh, thank you very much, Love Channel Africa. I'm delighted to be here this morning. Dear viewers and listeners, good morning. Chibanzanga Christopher, that's my name. Member of Parliament, Bwendera County, in the proposed Bwendera District, RWENZORI sub-region.
Well, before we begin, let us first have a commercial break from Maganjo Grain Millers, one of the best wheat producing factories and companies in Uganda.
Mumutima gwa Uganda mulimu ekimera ekyenjawulo era nga kijiddwamu omutindo ogusukkulumye. Engano ya jiko nga ekolebwa ab'Amaganjo Grain Millers. Kola ebyokulya eby'omulembe nga okozesa jiko, owomerwe ne famiri yo ne ku mikolo gyo. Yimusa omutindo gw'enfumba yo oyimuse essanyu lyo nga okozesa engano ya jiko. Ekolebwa ab'Amaganjo Grain Millers. Engano ya jiko evaamu ebyokulya ebiwooma nga byagalwa, woomerwa akaseera konna nga okozesa engano ya jiko. Maganjo Grain Millers, feeding nations.
At the Content Factory, we are streaming live from Nansana Municipality and particularly Chibloka opposite KFC. And we are joined by Honorable Christopher Chibanzanga Tabani Mbalula. Honorable, for the benefit of our audience, could you briefly explain the OBUSINGA RWENZURURU, what it is and why it is important to the people of RWENZORI region?
Oh, thank you so much. Well, OBUSINGA RWENZURURU is a cultural institution. As we go by the definition of the 1995 Constitution, it is a cultural institution whose main function is to develop the people's culture, is to revive the people's culture, is to give the people the sense of belonging, is to give the people to realize their spiritual destiny, to develop their culture in terms of language, develop their culture in terms of natural skills, revive their culture in terms of their social life. For instance, the naming, the circumcision, which is within the parameter of the new health guidelines. In other words, to revive the positive culture of the people, so that the people can have a sense of belonging, so that the people can have a sense of togetherness, and churn out and move toward their the collective destiny.
Well, Honorable, for the benefit of our viewers, can you briefly give a background of the history of OBUSINGA RWENZURURU, how it started, who bore this vision of starting this movement, because this kingdom started as a movement?
Well, the background of the OBUSINGA RWENZURURU is found in the behavior and characteristics of the Tara Kingdom. Before King Kabalega expansionist policy, people who were living around Mount Rwenzori were a free people. And those are the Bakonzo, Baira
Banande.
The Basongora, the Bamba Bawise.
The Basongora are also part of the movement.
And the Batua, including Batagwenda. So we were living around Mount Rwenzori as a free people, independent people, people who were determining their own destiny through their chieftaincy, Bakulba Malambo, and Bise Malambo. And then King Kabalega embarked on expansionist policy. And that was 1819, I think. If I'm not mistaken. And then later on, the priests of the Nyoro kingdom, Kasagama, disagreed with his father, King Kabalega, and he took refuge in the Rwenzori mountain. And the Bakonzo people gave him refuge, asylum, protected him, and defended him. In fact, Isambalambo, the chieftainess of Ruhandeka, it's the one which gave refuge to the priest Kasagama. And later on, that was 1897, 1820, 1821. Then he traveled to Buganda region.
Kasagama?
Kasagama, yes. Seeking refuge in Buganda and mobilizing forces to establish his own kingdom. Good enough for him, as the luck would have it for him. He met the Mzungu called the Lugard.
Frederick Lugard.
That one. Bad man. And the Lugard, with his British government, were trying to suppress Kabalega. King Kabalega. Because by that time, King Kabalega was a very powerful kingdom in what we refer to as Indar-Castellan region. Hope you remember your geography.
Yeah, my history.
The Lake region. He had almost conquered Uganda. He had almost conquered the Eastern Congo, Nicaragua, up to some parts of Rwanda.
So ideally, when you talk of 1819, the RWENZURURU movement was in existence?
Not yet. I am now coming.
Okay.
Now, look at, because they wanted really to divide the powerful Bunyoro, the Bunyoro dynasty.
The Bunyoro Empire.
Lugard gets in touch with Lugard gets in touch with Kasagama. And Kasagama explained his unfortunate situation with his father. Lugard said, I can take you and make you a king. So long as you will help us to divide the Bunyoro
Empire.
Which was disturbing the British.
By then led by Mukama Kabalega.
Yes. Now Lugard takes Kasagama back to the RWENZORI mountain. And then Kasagama established, with the help of Lugard, his kingdom.
Toro kingdom.
Kabarole of Kamabwangi.
By then it was called Kabarole of Kamabwangi.
Not yet, it was not yet a kingdom. Now he's getting the forces from Buganda and the forces of Lugard to go to the RWENZORI region and establish a kingdom. And because he had the backing of Lugard and the backing of the Buganda kingdom, and of course the backing of the Bakonzo people helping him, and then he says Kabarole of Kamabwangi. Lekabanyoro Barole of Kamabwangi. And then he established the kingdom of Toro.
Okay.
The kingdom of Toro. And that's how Kabarole became a Kabarole.
So Toro Kingdom starts after the collapse of the Nyorokitara Empire.
Yes, it was the beginning of the collapse of the Nyorokitara because it was one of the segments that broke away from the Nyorokitara kingdom. Now he establishes a kingdom in Rwenzori sub-region. At the beginning it was fine, but now they started imposing their culture on Batagwenda, on Basongora, ono Banyabindi, ono Bakonzo, ono Batuku, ono Bambabawisi, and Batwa. And then the independence, the Ugandan independence discussions were almost
coming to conclusion.
Yes. And with the Lancaster debates, they chose to run Uganda through federal states. Federal states in the form of kingdoms.
Giving kingdoms more power.
Exactly. Federal status. Now the Chabazinga became some federal something there. Bunyoro also, they had also compromised with another priest there. And then the Buganda, and then the Toro Kingdom. These districts in northern Uganda were to be governed by central government. And then these kingdoms were asked to adopt some level of liberal administration. Have all communities elect their representatives to go to the Lukurato, in our case. And as the fate would have it, Isaya Mukirani Chibanzanga, Kawamara Yeremia, and the Mupalia Peter were elected to become representatives of the current Bugandera in the Lukurato of Toro in 1962.
So the movement originally starts in 1962.
Not yet. Now we have our representatives.
In the Lukurato of Toro?
Of Toro.
Okay.
Saya Muchirani,
okay,
from Harugali.
Okay.
Palia. Peter. I'm not sure. Palia Peter. Kawamara Yeremia were our representatives. While in the Lukurato, they discovered that the Toro Kingdom and the king were bent hell, imposed their culture and traditions on the people. And the people started demanding for their identity.
The other minority groups?
Yes, the minority groups. The Songora, the Tagwenda, the Banyabindi, the Bamba, Bawisi, Bakonzo, but we are not represented. They started demanding for their fundamental human rights in terms of development, in terms of respect, in terms of freedom. And the Toro Kingdom and the king were not willing to relent. Vividly, what I remember is that they wanted to restructure the kingdom so that it defeats all, so that all communities are represented in what we call a privé council. And the Bakonzo Bamba put a question. If the king is Yomtoro, why can't the position of the premier minister rotate among the minority communities? Huh?
That was a huge debate.
The Batorokasu were not willing to relent. They said, no. Omuhikirwa, prime minister, can only be Omutorokasu. Mutorokasu meaning Rio
Mutoro.
And then the Bakonzo Bamba Bawisi
Songora, Batuku.
And they said, so what is our benefit if we can't partake on the important positions in the kingdom. Bamba Bakonzo Bawisi started a study group called the Bakonzo Bamba History Research. Find out, where did we go wrong? How were we conquered? Before the conquering of the Bunyoro, before Bunyoro Kingdom conquered the Rwenzori Mountain, before Kasagama was installed a king by Logard, where were we? Tulikuwa watu ngani? Tulikuwa tunafanya nini? What were we doing?
So who was doing that work of profiling the history of
the leaders of profiling our history, our lost history? Isaya Mukirani Kibanzanga, Muze Mupalia Peter.
Is it right when I say
Yeremia
Isaya Mukirani Chibanzanga 1? Because for you are Chibanzanga 2.
Those are your classifications. I don't want to go there. So they started finding out. That research revealed a lot of things. One of the emotional and painful revelation of that research, they discovered that the Bayora had rebelled the Bunyoro Kingdom.
Who are the Bayora now?
The Bayora were the militias of the Bakonzo people, led by Nyamutswa, Kapolia, and
Isai.
No, Nyamutswa, Kapoli.
So those were the militia.
Those were the militia
of the Bayira.
The Bayora Revolution.
They called them the Bayora
Revolution. And then they discovered that this revolution was suppressed by the Toro Kingdom. Killed the 3 leaders and buried them in a shallow grave at Kagando.
So these 3 died before Muchirani.
Now this is the background to RWENZURURU movement.
Oh.
This is Nyamutswa, Tebamwenda, and Kapoli. In 1820, 21, and then they were executed in 1822.
1822.
And because these representatives of ours who came to the Kurato, Oro, and because the demands were not listened to, so they started a study group, a research to find out what went wrong. They discovered that it has been a tendency by the Nyoro Kingdom, by the Toro now Kingdom, to marginalize them, to suppress them. So as a result, they went back to the Lukurato and fatically demanded that we demand that we share equally the positions in the Toro Kingdom, apart from the position of the king. The king can be on Toro, no problem. But the Prime Minister and the other ministers, let us share. Prime Minister position should rotate among the minorities. Toro said over our dead body. And that one caused the walk out of the Lukurato on the 13th June. 13th May. 13th March 1962.
Not 66.
62. Now it caused the mayhem.
Now that means the walkout happened before Uganda getting independence.
Of course. Of course. Because initially, our 3 representatives announced the independence of the marginalized groups on 30th June.
Independence from Toro Kingdom.
30th June 1962. Independence from the Toro Kingdom. And they were demanding, telling the governor here that for us we are no longer part of the Toro Kingdom, of that federal state, quasi federal state. We wanted to be governed by the central government. And therefore we declare our independence from the Toro Kingdom. And that was 30th June 1962. In fact, 30th June this month is independence.
For the marginalized.
For the marginalized.
But those marginalized groups have disintegrated,
and they have created their own segment. But that does not deny them the common history of the marginalized
doesn't
groups.
That call for a joint celebration for all those marginalized groups to come together and now remember?
If we were people who wanted to focus on our history, if we were people who wanted to build our spiritual identity and then move towards our own destiny, and then we create the spirit of oneness, our history, the history of the marginalized groups in the RWENZORI sub-region, bring us together. And that history is very strong than the issues that are dividing us today.
Now, as you have...
So now, the walkout brought issues. And on the 30th, our representatives declare independence for the marginalized groups. A flag is hosted. Then the Toro Kingdom reacts with the help of central government. Muchirania, Kawamara, and Mupalia are arrested.
Both of them?
All of them. Brought to Kampala and taken to Karamoja in prison. Hell broke loose. Now a rebellion starts in the mountain, in the entire mountains.
So these three
and
leaders...
the rebellion was codenamed as the RWENZURURU
movement.
RWENZURU rebellion under the RWENZURU movement.
Don't they now declare, after moving out of Rukurato, the RWENZURU?
They declared when they walked out of Rukurato. They said, we are walking out of the Rukurato, we shall never be back. And we are no longer part of the Toro Kingdom. We can only come back when the Toro of the central government. Now, walking out of the Rukurato, in one way or another, meant you are walking out of the central government arrangement, and therefore declared a rebel.
So,
and that's how central government came in to try to suppress the RWENZURU movement. But the RWENZURU movement was not done, and was not willing to give in. They stood their ground.
So these three leaders that led the movement were regarded as rebels?
Absolutely, and that's why they were arrested and tried. Now, negotiation continued. And remember, that was the period Uganda was negotiating its independence from the British in the Lancaster meetings in Britain. You know that, using your history. So, Uganda overreacted, Uganda government, with the help of Toro. And the Bakonzo Bamba were not willing to give in. So the RWENZURU movement is declared. The RWENZURURU state is declared. And the independence of the RWENZURURU territory is declared. And then the war started. So,
what challenges did the movement face during its years of resistance?
Of course,
because you have seen...
Them was swallowed by the struggle for Uganda government to achieve independence. And from June up to October, those were busy days. Uganda was organizing to receive its independence from the British. At the same time, it was faced with a rebellion in the RWENZORI mountain. Even the Bazungu canoes were used to move to the RWENZORI mountain
to suppress the movement,
the rebellion. But we were not willing to give in. So many letters were written to central government, so many letters were written to Britain for a recognition, but they were not willing to...
The RWENZURU movement leaders were writing to the Bazungu for
yes,
permission.
yes, to the governor, Britain, Prime Minister of Britain, the UN, but they were not willing because the Bazungu somehow, they never wanted to leave a united country. They wanted to leave a country in confusion so that they continue with their exploitation of our resources. So they left the RWENZURURU movement unsolved. Uganda was given independence. And then we had also my father and our other representative in Ukurato had also declared independence. Finally, my father escapes from the prison, Lunguja.
The other two?
My father escaped.
No. They were three.
There were three. My father escaped.
Tebamwenda, Kawamara?
No, that is an earlier rebellion. That is of the 1822.
Oh,
Tebamwenda, Nyamonso Akapoli.
That was
the Bayora
rebellion.
Of 1980.
So the latest three leaders were...
Now this one,
Isaiah,
Peter Mupalia, Kawamara Yeremia, Isaiah Mukrania Kibanzanga of the 1982.
Now, of the three, King Isaiah escapes.
Now King Isaiah escapes.
He leaves the other two in prison.
And as Kasese.
He leaves the other two in prison.
Yes. He escaped from them. It's another story.
From which prison was he?
No, when the rebellion continued, when they arrested them, and then they took them to Karamoja, now the RWENZORI became ungovernable. And somehow, the governor said, let's take a softer approach. Release these people from the prison. Bring them to Kampala in safe houses. As we are negotiating with them to see what to do with the RWENZORI. And as we are also negotiating with Uganda to have its independence. So they brought them here in safe houses. Kawamara Yeremia, Peter Mpalia were in Lunguja, in a safe house there.
Is this history written or documented?
Where do you think I get it?
You was meant to be oral.
Muchirania was taken to Kajas in another safe house. Alone, they said they separated them. They had the core among them is Muchirania. Separate him from the two. They didn't know that the two were the brain worker of the movement.
The other two.
And they could write. So Muchirania was taken there. They were in isolation in the safe houses. Now Muchirania escapes. Muchirania escaped.
So he escapes from a safe house?
Yes, with the help of the Bakonzo from Kasese.
They never told you how he escaped?
I know very well.
We shall start from there. Let us first go.
Muze Blasio Mate, Muze who we died recently, Musongora. They drove their Land Rover, they went to Lunguja, go to Isaiah Muchirania, put him in a Land Rover, they drove. That early morning they were in Kasese, climbing the mountain of Chitolo.
Heading to the bushes now.
To the forest.
Honorable, let us start from there. Let us first go into a commercial break. We shall be right back with this, the origin of OBR, and we shall run it in different series for a month. Keep it LC Africa, the Content Factory.
Mumutima gwa Uganda mulimu ekimere ekyenjawulo era kijiddwamu omutindo ogusukkulumye engano ya jiko nga ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Kola ebyokulya eby'omulembe nga okozesa jiko owoomerwe ne famiri yo ne ku mikolo gyo. Yimusa omutindo gw'enfumba yo oyimuse essanyu lyo nga okozesa engano ya jiko ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Engano ya jiko evaamu ebyokulya ebiwooma nga byagalwa woomerwa akaseera konna nga okozesa engano ya jiko. Maganjo grain millers, feeding nations. Mu mutima gwa Uganda mulimu ekimere ekyenjawulo era nga kijiddwamu omutindo ogusukkulumye engano ya jiko nga ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Kola ebyokulya eby'omulembe nga okozesa jiko owoomerwe ne famiri yo ne ku mikolo gyo. Yimusa omutindo gw'enfumba yo oyimuse essanyu lyo nga okozesa engano ya jiko ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Engano ya jiko evaamu ebyokulya ebiwooma nga byagalwa woomerwa akaseera konna nga okozesa engano ya jiko. Maganjo grain millers, feeding nations.
Having a very interesting topic, the origin of OBR. And the very person who would give us this history is none other than the son of the man.
The real one.
The real one. Prince Christopher Chibanzanga Taban Balibura. Now these people are arrested in Kajansi. Safe houses.
Safe houses.
Muchirani escapes, goes to the bush.
With the help of...
declared a rebel now.
Of his Bakons and Kasese. They take him up to the mountain at Muzeche Bahimbande, Isaler Kambere. From there I started recruiting young people. And the Uganda government heard that Muchirania is forming a rebel group to fight for what he believes in. The freedom, the independence of the Bakonzo people, the Bakonzo, and the respect of fundamental human rights, and to be part of the Ugandan independence. My friend. Now, after Muchirani had escaped, the governor and those fellows who were looking for Ugandan independence, the Militon Obotis, the Musasis, the what? Now they started negotiating with the two.
These two?
Yes. Muchirani has escaped. And indeed, Muzemopalia told me that Muchirani escaped without telling them, which frustrated them. Because they believe that Muchirani should have told them, but Muchirani escaped.
But they were in different safe houses.
And that was the challenge.
How would he
that was
them,
the
really?
challenge. So now the governor took advantage to negotiate with the two to leave the idea of the rebellion. And somehow the two were compromised. They did not follow Muchirani. One, they were bitter that Muchirani escaped without telling them. Two, they saw it was really a very difficult game to start a rebellion in what was going to be an independent Uganda. My friend, the delegations were sent to Muchirani. Muchirani said, so long as we cannot be governed by central government, I am not giving in. And if central government is not willing to work with the RWENZORI directly, with the marginalized groups directly, by declaring RWENZORI district, so that we are managed by the central. For us, we can no longer be managed by the Toro Kingdom. Because in Toro Kingdom, we are properly marginalized. And in terms of service delivery, even in terms of sharing positions within the kingdom.
And the resources were all taken by.
And the resources. And you can see the first secondary school in RWENZORI, the first two secondary schools in RWENZORI were given by Idi Amin. And that is Semrik High and Sadi Secondary in 1974. Now try to calculate, try to compare. When was Nyakasura Secondary School? When was St. Louis Chegobe Secondary School?
Don't they
date in 18 something.
Yeah.
But they had marginalized those groups which did not have a thorough cash by not giving them services, even education, no roads, no water, no electricity, no security, including agriculture. They were marginalized. So Muchirani refuses. And now Obote becomes the premier minister. Kabaka becomes the president. October, 9th October 1962. And Obote declared he's not going to negotiate with idiots in Mount RWENZORI. Instead, he would use the British army and the Ugandan army now, by that time, to crush them.
And pick you like cockroaches.
That's it. And Muchirani says, okay, that being the case, I declare the RWENZURURU Kingdom State. That is the genesis of the RWENZURURU.
Now, I'm having people following us here.
That's the way it is the issue. Now, in 1963, 63, 64.
Yeah, the kingdom was declared in 1963.
1963. I'm losing my history. Muchiranya declares. I didn't read, by the way. You told me this topic yesterday, and I was a bit busy. Muchiranya declares himself a king of the RWENZURURU Kingdom State. Muchiranya is crowned a king. And Obote, with his British allies, with the Baktoro local allies, continued aggressing the Bakonzo people. And Muchiranya said, you are making a fundamental mistake. You are aggressing the free people. You are aggressing the independent people. We shall fight on. Even if it means fighting with our fingernails, we have nothing to do with the Toro, and therefore we have nothing to do with the central government, and we have nothing to do with the British government.
So it was the government of Uganda against the people of the
RWENZURURU Kingdom State. Okay. That is the genesis. I am not doing this history to incite people.
No, we are not. No, we are not.
We are just looking at our history,
we are digging
so that we can know where we come from, and where we are, and where we are going.
Well, there are people following us online, and they have several questions for you. This one is watching us from Belgium. He's called Richard. He has several questions, but I think these ones we shall handle them bit by bit. The first question says, does the kingdom have official diaspora chapters like Uganda has in the US, UK, and Germany? Question 2, if no chapters exist, has it ever been proposed or discussed by the parties? Question 3, are there any formal community groups of Bakonzo Banande abroad that the kingdom recognize? Question 4, why do you think Uganda has active diaspora chapters, Abataka, but OBR hasn't reached that level yet? Question 6, what are the main challenges stopping mobilization, structure, funding, leadership, or something else? Question 7, does the kingdom see value in having diaspora chapters the way Uganda Katikiro Maiga uses them? Question 8, can diaspora chapters be started for OBR members abroad? What would be the process look like? Question 9, what role could the palace play versus the role of community members in those countries? If someone wanted to help mobilize Bakonzo, Banande in Germany, US, UK, who in the kingdom would they coordinate with? For the love of my culture, Ukote Tato Musinga Chelsea Mumbere, Irimangoma. I love history. Thank you, Mr. Hasson and Honorable.
I am happy, Lower Channel. You are making a contribution towards building a strong cultural institution.
Yeah, we are trying to.
If you look at his question, are very pertinent. If we are to build a vibrant and a strong cultural institution.
But I think you'll respond to this question when we reach
now. I don't know. We are not yet discussing the current status of the RWENZURURU. We are on the history.
Yes.
But now his question are on the current, the way the RWENZURURU is, the way what it should be. But they are all important questions.
I will take note of
and I hope people who are in the management of the kingdom, in the administration of the kingdom, are watching us. And maybe I will summarize by saying, everywhere, Omukonzo, who pays allegiance to the RWENZURURU kingdom, anywhere in the world, where Omukonzo, Mukonzo mina RWENZURURU, who pays allegiance to the RWENZURURU kingdom, you are a chapter. Even in my Chebando home.
His question is, can there be formal chapters?
Yes, it is supposed to be. Where they are. Well-organized community of the Bakonzo Banya RWENZURURU people who pay allegiance to the RWENZURURU kingdom, you are an automatic chapter. And the kingdom should recognize you. But it is those questions will better be answered by those who are in the management, in the administration of the kingdom.
Honorable, as a royal, as a person who speaks to the king as and when you want, can you make these questions reach to the authority? Please.
They will. Because really, at one time the king was in England. He made a chapter. At one time.
He wants the one.
And I want really the kingdom to make these ones formal chapters abroad. And in this case, in Uganda, there should be a chapter. In Europe, if we have Bakonzo there who subscribe, it should be a chapter. In Europe, If we have the Bakonzo there who subscribe, it is form a chapter and help in the mobilization of our people to appreciate our culture, to appreciate our common destiny, and mobilization of resources to build the kingdom to be strong.
Now, Honorable, back to our origin. How did the people of the Rwenzori region sustain this struggle?
Let me tell you.
Because now they went to...
Any cause that is supported by the ordinary people, it is sustainable. The RWENZURURU ideology was supported by the peasants, was supported by the ordinary people, and all of us. And the moment the people has bought an idea, and therefore that becomes an idea for which can never be defeated. So it was sustainable, to answer your question, because the people bought into.
How sustainable was it when the king surrendered?
Well, in 1964, about abolished kingdoms in Uganda.
Yes, that's true.
In essence, that meant that the RWENZURURU kingdom that Isaiah had declared in 1963
was null and
void and not recognized by the government of Uganda. But remember, Mukirani had declared a kingdom state, and therefore about abolished kingdoms within Uganda.
A kingdom
for us,
state.
by that, by that time, for us, we are not members of the Uganda government, of the Uganda nation, of the Uganda
He
state.
had declared a state of
His own state. And when about the abolished kingdoms, he only abolished kingdoms that were part of Uganda. For us now, we are not part of Uganda. We are hosting our own flag. We are singing our own national anthem. We had our own coat of arms, and we had the people.
But you had no currency.
Of course, we had no currency. We had not printed one. So now, Obote and the subsequent Uganda government forces continued fighting us. But when Obote was overthrown in 1971, there came Idi Amin. And Idi Amin wanted to understand really what is the cause of the RWENZURURU movement. And I remember delegation was sent to Idi Amin. Led by Muse like Daudi Sebira, Muse Blasio Mate, Muse Kambere, Sadi.
The owner of Sadi Memorial?
Yes.
Okay.
They came and met Idi Amin. It was a delegation of very many people. Bakons actually. And they explained it to him, the origin, the genesis of the RWENZURURU movement. He said, but can I resolve these issues? And they asked, how do you want me to resolve the issues? That you can only resolve these issues if you govern us from the central by giving us our own administration so that we determine our own destiny. And he said, hey, okay. I mean, he was a man of action. Although some people think he was a bad man. There and then he declared RWENZORI district. RWENZORI district covering Bwamba, Bugendera, and Busongora. Busongora is the current Kasese. Hey. Now the question was, if we have RWENZORI district,
but covering was left now in the middle now.
In the middle there. And that's how the new district came in. Now they said, where do we pass? Going to the other, to those other two counties.
Because
where do we pass to go to other two counties of Bwamba, Bugendera, and then Busongora. But they also wanted the Bunyangabo and the Brahe. Where do we pass, sir? He says, you must pass via for Porto. They said yes. And for us who have fought with them, we can't pass there. By that time, it was too hot. And the minister said, okay, that's very easy. Now I separated the two districts. Now I give Semlike and RWENZORI. And later on, Semlike was named Bundubujo, and RWENZORI was named Kasese district. By these liberators who came from RWENZORI, they wanted to erase the Aminizi legacy. That's how we go to two districts. The history of how they were mapped from Toro is another one. Because originally, the boundaries of according to Amin, the boundaries of Vundravujo covered Burahia. Burahia was supposed to be
in Semuliki.
In Semuliki district.
Present.
And the boundaries of Kasese covered Bunyangabo. Bunyangabo was supposed to be in the RWENZORI district. But how they remained in Toro is a debate of another day.
Does that explain the...
It is a long one.
Anyway, we shall come to that. Now,
so,
how
now after that, after the districts actually, somehow it softened, and the approach of Idi Amin, it softened the hearts of the extreme RWENZURURU. And remember the RWENZURURU, by that time, now go to divided. We had the extreme fighters in the mountain and the moderates on the lower lands.
So that's why my question is...
And the moderates were saying, now that we are managing ourselves, we have got our own districts. You people, why don't you stop fighting? And that debate continued from 1974 up to 1982, which led to the descending of King Charles, who is remembered from the mountain.
Now that's where my question comes before we go any further. Now these three tribes are having different cultures, as I can understand. The Bamba have their own culture, the Bawis have their own culture, the Bakons have their own culture, and the Basongora. How did these people come together to intertwine these cultures of theirs
and form a movement?
And form a movement, because all their cultures are typically
now remember towards independence, I have told you, Toro became a quasi-federal state, and therefore being managed on the liberal demands of the people by that time. And now what brought us together, although we had different cultures, were the liberal demands of services. We are marginalized, you are not giving us services, let us also share the national cake within the Toro Kingdom, which will lead us to the national platform. And by the way, when it was so obvious, somehow it became obvious that the presidency of Uganda was going to rotate around kingdoms. For instance, if the Kabaka was the first president of Uganda, it would go to Chabazinga, from Chabazinga, Bunyoro, from Bunyoro, the president would be in Toro. And also that one caused the conflict. Now, when will the Mkonzo Mamba Muwis, Mutuku, Musongor, Mutagwenda become a president of Uganda? Okay, let also, in our quasi-federal state, the position of a king rotate, so that at one time, also Mkonzo Muwis will be a president of Uganda, like the Kabaka. Also that one. So, in essence, what brought us together by that time, although we had different cultures, were the liberal demands of freedom and the respect of fundamental human rights. It wasn't culture now.
It wasn't culture.
It was
It is now human rights that joined the... Now, how did the peace process eventually unfold?
Now you are bringing me to 1980.
Yeah, that's when the King Mumbere comes down and tells the...
Now
the fight has ended.
Now I have laid the ground for you to understand. But are you sure you don't know this history?
No, I'm getting to understand some of this, but
now,
but for the benefit of the
after the visit of our elders, Blasio Mate, Muze Mukonzo, Muze Chivingo, Muze Daudi Sevira, and maybe others, I will give you a full list. After them, after they had visited Idi Amin, and Idi Amin had accepted their demands, they became moderates. Now we have our districts. Why are we still fighting? Now they started negotiating with the extremists. As that one was going on, we were the extremists. Some of us were at the mountain. Carrying spears and guns and
the Muchirania group.
The Muchirania group were the extremists. And then the group of Muze Blasio Mate were the moderates who were saying, now that we are governing ourselves from RWENZORI district and the Semuliki district, let us give up the fighting. Now, that discussion continued from 1974 up to 1982. You are not listening.
I'm listening, sir.
Now, as we are moving on, there was a liberation struggle from Tanzania to overthrow Idi Amin. And in 1978, Idi Amin was overthrown, sir. When Idi Amin was overthrown, Nyerere was keeping Obote. Nyerere, who was bringing Obote back to be the president of the Republic of Uganda, cautioned Obote. He said, I have sacrificed my forces, my resources, to remove dictator Idi Amin. But remember, at the time you came here, your country was divided. There is a section of your people in the mountain who were fighting under the RWENZURURU movement. As you go back, go and negotiate with them. I'm not going to help you to fight your civil wars. Go. And my dear friend, that was a command. And by that time, Nyerere was a commanding officer.
In the Eastern,
was the commander in chief.
In Eastern Central region.
The entire of Africa. Now for you, you are forgetting your history. The entire of Africa. These Ngurumas and the Nyereres. So when Bote came back, first of all, Rule.
Yusuf Rule.
When Yusuf Rule came back, he had the command of who? Of Nyerere. Immediately Yusuf Rule came back, he sent emissaries to the RWENZURURU kingdom. Negotiation started. Unfortunately, after 2 months, Rule was overthrown. Benaissa, as a president, sent emissaries to the RWENZURURU administration, to King Charles Wesley. Negotiations continued. Unfortunately, within 1 month, Benaissa was overthrown. Now the military commission. But then the military commission attempted to fight.
To also fight the movement?
The RWENZURURU. They sent forces there. But we were happy. We were not easy to crack, my friend. But also the military commission started negotiating through Amoni Bazira. Eventually, elections. And those elections were conducted under the multi-party dispensation. Now,
those elections happened
of 1980.
Had the movement ended yet?
Not yet.
It's still going on.
We're still a state negotiating with Uganda government. The RWENZURURU government state, kingdom state, is negotiating with Uganda government for a peace talk. So
it was government to government.
Government to government.
To state.
State to state. Stop joking with us. We are not easy. It sounds like a movie, but that's true. It's
real history. And you know, part of this history is not documented.
It's you who don't read. You never also don't read.
I hope they will get the guts of
you go and read the Sermons from RWENZORI by Tom Stesser.
They want to read.
Go and read the Tribe by Tom Stesser. By Tom Stesser. Go and read the RWENZURURU movement, a people's struggle for freedom, by Mamudani and late Professor Shehu.
This Professor Mamdan of Makerere.
You are there. But they don't read enough.
So we enter the elections for Amoni Bazira.
We enter elections for Uganda, not Amoni Bazira alone. So, but during those elections, Amoni Bazira is negotiating with RWENZURURU kingdom. And Amoni Bazira, the vehicle to end the RWENZURURU struggle was through UPC, because Amoni Bazira was UPC. And Amoni Bazira was busy negotiating with the RWENZURURU administration. Please allow UPC to win in the mountains. And you know, because of Obote.
So Amoni Bazira was
UPC.
He
was UPC. Because of Obote, the entire mountain was almost DP. You could hear songs, Omukonzo no Mwamba, Traikomera DP. Mukonzo no Mwamba,
so
Traikomera
Bazira was a Mukonzo?
Yes. Of the Banyabinde extraction. I hope you understand.
So Amoni Bazira ran against who in the election?
Who could run against Amoni Bazira? Was a powerful man. He must have run.
Isn't
with who?
Well, not with Dr. Chiong.
No, with Dr. Bwambale. What is his another name. He died, Dr. Bwambale, as a DP. Bwambale. I will remember his name.
So by then there was UPC and DP.
Bwambale who?
So
And UPM, of course.
So
And the UPM was led by Honorable Crispus Chionga. DP was Henry
the only
Bwambale.
MP who went through under UPM.
DP was Henry Bwambale. UPC was Vazira and Amos Kambere. Umuhera wetu. And of course, UPC was a bit strong, backed by UNLF, backed by Tanzanians. So they managed to convince RWENZURURU to support UPC. And by that time, RWENZURURU supported UPC in 1980-81.
So Bazira wins an election.
Wins an election. Henry Bwambale loses an election because he was a DP. And then something went wrong. Another DP candidate of Kasese North was murdered under unclear circumstances. And remember that one was contesting with Honorable Crispus Chionga. And because the Bakonzo were so annoyed, and because they were DPs, they said, although you have murdered our candidate, Vito Muhindo, we are not going to give UPC. You know when the Bakonzo say no, he say no. Although you have murdered our candidate, we are not going to give UPC. We suffered under Obote, we suffered under Toro Kingdom. We shall still vote opposition. And as a protest vote, Honorable Crispus Chionga got overwhelming support from Kasese North, becomes a member of parliament.
And he didn't go to parliament.
Because remember, the leader of UPM had declared that if this election is rigged, I will go to the bush and fight. And immediately, because the election really was rigged against the DP.
Well, that will be a story for another
day. Immediately he goes to the bush. And Honorable Crispus Chionga was here, was trying to be shown, was to be shown in, and sitting in that parliament alone. He said, you know, my leader has gone to the bush. As a matter of principle, I am going to the bush. So Honorable Chionga left. Was he shown in? I will ask him.
So
I think he left before swearing in.
I think
so he goes to Nairobi and he joins external wing of National Resistance Movement. We saw him again in 1986.
When the president was
You may not believe it, 1985.
So
we are liberated earlier.
So Honorable, I want us to, we shall begin from this point now. The King Charles Wesley Mumbere, is asked to come back.
Now after UPC had declared itself, the negotiation with the King Charles Wesley Mumbere and the RWENZURURU government continued. Negotiations, peace talks between Uganda and RWENZURURU Kingdom State continued. I was a young man, sometimes I would accompany the king to Senyi to go and see what they are discussing.
So you were part of those meetings?
I was not part of those meetings, but I would go with the king and
on the veranda,
I also sit on the veranda and watching the negotiations. Yeah? And I can remember elders I used to see.
So the discussions come to conclusion and the king accepts. And the king accepts now to
say now let's form one government, one administration, one army, and one Uganda. So on 15th August 1982, we rolled down. We descended from the mountain with all of the BWA.
And says,
one Uganda, one government, one army, and one party UPC.
And now says, the fight is done. Now we start the fight.
Pens and the brain.
Oh, dear viewers that are watching us here at LC Africa, we shall begin the other episode of this topic, the origin of OBR. From there, we shall begin from there, when now the king has engaged the Obote government.
And has it descended down?
Descended down.
On 15th August 1982.
And how this government
and he becomes the chief elder.
And how the government
is sponsored to go to the United
US.
States for a study leave.
Perfect. We shall start from there. Until next time, I remain HASON MUTUNZI Wambale on behalf of LC Africa and the host for RWENZORI Focus.
Mu mutima gwa Uganda mulimu ekimera ekyenjawulo era nga kijiddwamu omutindo ogusukkulumye. Eŋŋano ya jiko nga ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Kola ebyokulya eby'omulembe nga okozesa jiko owoomerwe ne famiri yo ne ku mikolo gyo. Yimusa omutindo gw'enfumba yo oyimuse essanyu lyo nga okozesa eŋŋano ya jiko ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Eŋŋano ya jiko evaamu ebyokulya ebiwooma nga byagalwa woomerwa akaseera konna nga okozesa eŋŋano ya jiko. Maganjo Grain Millers, feeding nations.